There are many different opinions about the definition of romance, but studies indicate that both men and women share a strong desire for a very intimate relationship with their spouse. So if the research is saying that almost all of us want that intimate marriage, why is it that some of us have it and, well, some of us don't? Is intimacy just this strong, unexplainable chemistry between two people? Or is there something a little more practical at work, something we could all tap into and be just a little more lucky in love? We did our own experiment to shed a little light on the issue of marital intimacy. Meet our 8 volunteers. Donald and Sandy Wise, married 31 years with 3 children and 1 grandchild. Cliff and Tracy Atfield, married 15 years with 2 children. Billy and Shayla Nolan, married 12 years with 2 children. Eloa and Mike Davis, married 11 months. So we asked our volunteers to take a short true-false questionnaire with statements ranging from, I know the kind of music my spouse likes, to deeper statements like, I can tell you my spouse's basic philosophy on life. Well, that's quite a range of questions, and we found this test in the New York Times best-selling book entitled The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. It's written by Dr. John Gottman, whose 25 years of research is widely considered in secular and religious circles as the most important and comprehensive body of research on this topic. So it's a short test, 20 questions, true/false. It's called the Love Map Questionnaire. Now, the Love Map, according to Dr. Gottman, is the area of your brain where you store relevant information about your spouse. Now, of course, it's a short, simple test, so it's by no means comprehensive, but it certainly provides you with a pretty good snapshot of how well you know your spouse, or as Dr. Gottman would say, your love map.
Well, I missed 1. Or I got 1 false, if you call that missing.
I think I did all right.
I guess what really surprised me was that I just didn't know a lot of specifics.
I think that Billy probably thinks he did pretty well, and he probably got about 18 or 19 true. Maybe he put true on all of them because Billy thinks that he knows what I think, but I don't know if he actually will get them correct when we actually look at what my answers would be. And that's because I talk a lot, and so he feels like he knows me well. But I also change my mind a lot. So my answers might be different this week than they would have been a month ago.
I would imagine I did better than Sandy did. Sandy's more expressionable. Sandy lets you know exactly what she feels, what she thinks, what she believes in. I'm a little more to myself, so I have a better picture of her probably than she does me.
Well, how many of you got at least 10 of the questions right? You had 20 true-false questions.
I mean, we've only been married a year, and so, you know, we haven't had time to unknow each other, I guess. And so, so I didn't.
Because we knew each other so well going into this.
Well, we did. So, you know, I didn't feel like, I felt like, you know, the questions were things that someone should know, I guess.
You know, I was not expecting before I read them to feel like I knew as much as I did. You change, you know, and you change as a couple, and your aspirations and hopes, all those things change. And I guess I was thinking there might be some stuff that I wasn't sure I was caught up on.
As your aspirations and dreams and hopes evolve as couples, what are some of the strategies that you use to keep the intimacy alive with your partner?
I'll jump back in. I think it's real easy to kind of just assume that you know all the answers. And if you don't consciously take time to sit down and talk or give that person room to grow and develop and be different, it's real easy to put them in a box and think you already know them. And when really we're all changing over time. And, you know, as we came out, we were married right out of college. And, you know, we kind of grew up during our first years of marriage and then had a child early. And so a lot of the things we thought were the ideal way to do things, it didn't turn out that way.
We've just become empty nesters this past September. We took our last one to college, and we didn't wait till September to start talking about it. We started talking about it about 2 years ago, and it's like, okay, it's coming, you know, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna react? How are we gonna be when it's just the 2 of us?
Let's hear from some of you who have kids and the challenge of keeping intimacy alive while balancing the responsibility of parenting.
You begin coasting and you get caught up in the day-to-day routines, and you kind of forget about how do you pursue one another.
You really do have to be proactive in scheduling time
to talk and communicate or go on dates. And I think you have to have people around you that encourage you to do that. Other couples, friends, I have women friends, he has men friends that ask us questions about that, like how are you doing pursuing each other, that kind of thing, because if we don't build it in, it's not going to happen.
It does feel like it's a lot about intentionality, and it's really easy to get sidetracked.
We're big about having the laptops out and the TVs on, but when we just get no media, it's amazing the conversation that we'll have.
Well, guys, if I can ask you this, what does intimacy mean to you?
Gosh, I know for us it feels like it's refreshing yourself on what's going on in that person for that, what's going on with your spouse that day, that month, what's on their mind, what's worrying them, what's exciting them, and trying to really make sure that you're not guessing at that, but that you've asked, or that you really do know it from talking to them.
I think for me, intimacy has been for 31 years, it's just, I'm here for you, you are here for me. At this moment, what do you need? Whether it is, a scratch on the back, I need time by myself, I need whatever it is, it's, what do you need and what do I need?
I know for me, when we're caught up in all the stresses of life, intimacy begins to look to how can I meet my own needs? And that's just, and then when you get to that point, it's like, okay, you got to take a step back and reevaluate and kind of figure out, okay, now what does intimacy mean to Shayla? And how can I meet that need? But it's difficult when you get caught up in that hustle and bustle of life. All right, that question that asked, do you periodically talk to your wife about her world? Well, I answered true to that because I didn't know if once or twice a year counted as periodic.
I don't feel like he's checking in as periodically as he should be.
See, I think I went one step worse. I answered it false, but I even thought to myself as I was answering it, well, I don't ask her, but I know that. So when then I did ask and I figured out that I really didn't know, it was like, oh, wait, this isn't good.
Reality check.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I really should ask.
We fall into that trap of just thinking, like Cliff said, we just think that we're okay, and we think that, we know where each other's at, I guess, and, we really don't.
We've talked about the essence of intimacy being known. How do you communicate that to your spouse?
I feel like when we first got married, we did that a lot, and it was more from, hey, let's show each other, let's tell each other what makes us feel loved, what is intimacy to us, and we told the other in our language. And man, we got some really confused feedback at first, right? Because it was like, hey, here's what this is like to me, and it was like, really, that ain't it. I just,
Well,
and you're kind of looking for a reaction.
I had so many words to use, for it, so that was part of the problem too.
I was done when I got home.
If I don't let him know who I am, how's he ever going to find out? If I don't let him know when I'm hurting and when I'm, when I need him to just hold me, when I need him, just to sit and listen and not try to work it out for me, or then when I need him to work it out for me, I took the silent route, and I was glad that I changed because it sure did help.
So maybe it's back to that intentionality and
Right.
Asking the questions and really paying attention to each other. A couple of people mentioned this idea of really searching to know your spouse, right? Really trying to go, what's going on in their life right now?
Some people seem to think that real intimacy is something that comes only for those who got lucky enough to meet their soulmate. Maybe that old song, "To know you is to love you," has some truth to it. Maybe this whole intimacy thing has a lot less to do with luck and a lot more to do with just getting to know your spouse.